Mary Richards.
There. I love
God,
you.
I love working with you. Welcome to Somatic Self Care podcast. This is another interlude where we stand up, move away from the computer, move our bodies. What is the title of what we're doing today, Mary?
Free the breath. Yeah, free the breath. Anywhere, in the grocery store, at the crosswalk. Don't worry about what anyone thinks. It doesn't matter.
Okay,
It's
and so
it.
we're sort of beginning with Tadasana, and what is the overarching theme of this free the breath couple of movement sequence?
Well, so the breath is primary. How easily we breathe is actually integrally related to how much myofascial tension we store in our bodies, especially if we're carrying the weight of the world on our shoulders and we get tight in the rib cage and in the side waist. I think we kind of underestimate, in my opinion, how the riverbanks of the body, the lateral stabilization subsystems and the like, actually can confine us and inhibit the movements of the breath. So by using just 3 simple standing poses, you could also do them seated, like at your desk chair, for instance. But by doing these poses, it first of all reestablishes the primacy of the natural curves of the body, gets us centered in our natural curviness.
Yes. Experiential anatomy people will remember. Lumbar curve, thoracic, cervical.
Most stable. And then we're going to do some things to stretch the accessory muscles of respiration, specifically intercostals and external and internal obliques.
I'm very much looking forward to this, especially because I'm sure many of you can relate, even if your circumstances are of course different, but in my life as a entrepreneur, as a yogi, with my own practice and my work and my home and my 2.5-year-old twins and trying to have a partnership and all of the trying to be a daughter and a daughter-in-law and a sister, all the pieces that I have, the moving parts. One feeling, somatic feeling that I often have is a sense of feeling a tightness, a sense of feeling trapped or constricted, like I don't have enough time. What I'm always craving is spaciousness.
Yes. And because the lungs themselves don't feel pain or tension, what happens is the connective tissue that enrobes the lungs, it gets tight and sticky, but we won't actually feel like tightness in the lungs. We just don't have that sensory wiring. But how it will manifest is we will get tight in the upper belly, and we'll feel a constricting band of tightness around, especially the middle and the base of the rib cage.
Hello, my number one spot here.
Yes. And so by doing these simple standing poses, and especially by reestablishing the immanence of the body's natural shape, it can help dissolve, if not all of that tension, it can dissolve it in a noticeable way that creates pleasure.
Oh, I am so ready, Mary. Let me switch to gallery. I'm gonna mute myself so that we'll have a quiet recording and you can guide us.
Okay. So you don't need anything special for this. Seriously, I've done this series in playgrounds, dog parks, grocery stores. I do have yoga emergencies, and I really believe in calling yoga 911. So, okay, so you don't have to have anything special, but let's say you are on your mat. I want you to come comfortably onto your mat and just stand in the center of it. And no matter where you are standing right now, I'd like you to set your feet directly under your hip sockets. You'll know when you find that. Now, just as a visual guideline to give you a body metric, for some people, your big toes will be 1 fist apart. But if you have longer pubic bones, you may need 2 fists between the big toes of the feet. You can check them in Uttanasana like Lizzie just did, or you can just sort of sight it by holding your hands. Yep, just like Lizzie's doing now, holding your hands down in front of your pubic bone. So I want you to establish the width of base first, according to your bones. And then I want you to turn your heels out just slightly so that the space between your second and third toes is pointed directly forward. And when you do that, when you make that adjustment in your feet, hopefully you feel just the slightest internal rotation in your thigh bones. And as a result, you feel your pelvis kind of roll over and around the heads of the thigh bones, and suddenly you're here. Now, just let your arms hang naturally by the sides of your body. And shrug the shoulders up and exhale and let them drop. Yeah, do this again. Shrug them up, let them drop. One more time. Shrug up and let them drop. Yeah, right away, you feel less pressure. Now, close your eyes if you feel comfortable doing so, or just let your lids get a little heavy. And I want you to now take your attention to the space between your bottom ribs and the top of your pelvis. And I want you to visualize and feel yourself breathing into that side waist stretch so that you feel the rib cage lift gently off the rim of the pelvis. And then exhale and just relax. And with each inhalation, feel the rib cage gently rising. And as you exhale, just feel the rib cage gently floating down. And now breathe as well into the side ribs. Feel yourself getting wider with the inhalation. Breathing into the walls, into the space to your left and to your right. And with each exhalation, the rib cage just gets a little softer. And now breathing into the back ribs and feeling the skin stretch across the back ribs as you inhale. And then as you exhale, the skin softening. And so now we're aware of the fullness of the rib cage. And without disturbing yourself overly much, inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, float the arms down. So we go from Tadasana to Urdhva Hastasana. And just do this a few times. Inhaling, feeling your space, feeling the space around you. And then exhaling and relaxing the arms down. The space still there. Couple more times. One more time. And exhaling and just letting the arms float down. And now inhaling and sweeping the arms up and overhead and lightly taking hold of your right wrist with the fingers of your left hand. And now drag your right arm out of the side body as you exhale and bend gently to the left. Turn your breastbone up just a little bit to the sky. And then inhale back to center. We don't stay here for too long. Exhale the arms down. And then we do this to the other side. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Take hold of the left wrist with the fingers of the right hand. Drag that left shoulder blade up out of your back ribs and side bend to the right. Breathe, breathe, breathe into that open rib cage. Feel the skin stretch over the side ribs. And then inhale back to center. Exhale the arms down. And at your own pace, do this again to each side. Now, let's say you're in a public place and you feel a little awkward, sweeping the arms up and the like. Ask yourself where that awkwardness comes from. Because I assure you that anyone who's seeing you right now is profoundly curious and jealous. Yeah, there we go. And see, it doesn't take a lot. 2 times to each side, and then we exhale and we float the arms down. And now don't think about it too much. Just start to swing your arms gently, just allowing the body to start to unfurl a bit. Just allowing the rib cage, the head, the neck to turn as the arms gently swing. Make the movement as big or as soft as you'd like. Just airing yourself out. And then as you're ready, you just allow the movement to gently fade. You allow the movement to gently dissipate as you work your way, as you ease your way back into Tadasana. And then back in mountain pose, back in the presence of here and now. Notice how you feel. And then when you're ready, you go about your day. That's it.
Mary, there's something about your voice, about the pacing, the way you teach. It just hypnotizes me in the most wonderful way into that shift, which I'm always looking for on the mat, from external to internal awareness.
Thank you for sharing that, Lizzie. And I really hear that with my heart, because this voice is just me talking to myself.
And what I love, comment on this video if you're watching and you agree, what I love about setting with Mary is that you have the most intelligent way of turning the simplest of movements into a rich and engaging experience.
This is something I'm really passionate about as a teacher. I've been a yoga practitioner for over 3 decades and a teacher for over 2 decades. And when I first started out as a teacher, I really focused on work and things being hard and complex. And as I've gotten more mature in my own practice and personhood, and as a teacher, I found that I really want us to have the yoga, the overt yoga, available to us more readily. And so I believe that by simplifying our practice, we really invite more of it into ourselves, and then that leaks out into our lives.
I love that so much. One of the things I'm learning with Mom slowly is not to see the practices, the physical movements, the breathing, even the meditation, not to see that as the yoga, but as she always so beautifully says, it's the residue that the asana leaves in the body, mind, that is the yoga. And that's what I love about the way you teach. So thank you. That those movements, there's a way for that sequence we just did to be mechanical, to be just movements, but you so beautifully are able to embed those very simple movements with a sense of yoga.
We're natural. All of us are natural yogis and yoginis. I really believe that. And so if we're just willing to pay attention to ourselves, to invite ourselves into our awareness, everybody wins.
All right. Tell us where we can find you on the internet, Mary.
You can find me at yogawithmaryrichards.com. That's my website, or on Meta or whatever it's called now, Instagram and all that. Yoga with Mary Richards. Very consistent.
All right. Do follow her and join her newsletter. The place to be with me in the internet is lizzie.yoga, Lizzie. And the best thing to do is to sign up for my free newsletter. Thank you so much, Mary Richards. Lots of love.
My pleasure, Lizzie Lasater. Lots of love back at you.